What's going on, everyone? So, the Memphis Grizzlies are officially 0-3 on the season, and I think that they're done. I talked about this before we got into the season, that I thought that they could be struggling to even make the play-in, and I wouldn't even be surprised if they missed the playoffs altogether. I don't think that they did what was necessary in the offseason to really put together a better team. I think that they are extremely small. I think the loss of Steven Adams hurts tremendously. And I just think that they don't have enough to really turn it around. Right now, Morant, he'll be back, 25 games in the season. But at that point, it might be too late. Because it's not like Morant, played 20 games and then missed like a month or two and then came back. No, he's literally going to go from basically sitting on the couch. I mean, I'm sure he's working out independently on his own, but he can't use the facilities. He can't work and train with the team. Can't do any of that stuff during his suspension. So he's going to have to go directly from basically, playing and handing out his local Y to jumping into an NBA game. And my guess is it probably takes him a little while to kind of get in a rhythm. Luckily he's a guy that, a lot of his game is predicated on him just being able to get to the rim and use his athleticism. So I do think that he can have a bit of an impact immediately, but it's just from the team dynamic, the team aspect. Defensively, Memphis hasn't been very good. Offensively, they just don't have enough firepower. Again, they are extremely small, and I just don't see that changing. Right? I mean, even when Morant comes back, they're still going to be small. Right? So what is their starting five when comes back? Probably Baines, Marcus Smart, right? And then Jackson and Tillman. That's probably my guess, right? Basically, you're just swapping Williams with Morant. Okay. But again, now you're running basically three guards, Triple J as your center, which, okay, he's fine as a center, but you don't have that size coming off the bench. They're too guard heavy, right? And it's one of those things. So, great example was last year, with the Lakers, right? And I know some people are going to be thinking oh, well, of course you're a Laker fan. Why do you have to bring about the Lakers? Because the Lakers kind of fell into the same hole last year. It's a guard league. Go get a bunch of guards. They're looking at it as Morant's out. Let's go get some guards so we can, have some excellent play in that regard. You go get Marcus Smart. You go get Derrick Rose. And I just don't think that was the best move for them to do. I think that they needed to go get some size. Even if the whole Steven Adams thing never happened, right? Let's say Steven Adams was good and ready to go. I still think they needed some size out on the perimeter, right? Dylan Brooks was their muscle out on the perimeter, and now they just don't have it. Marcus Smart can get after it. He's a defensive player of the year type guy, but also he got that defensive player of the year because the Boston Celtics as a whole were so good. There were lots of players that had better defensive numbers than Marcus Smart. And I think that that's something that I don't think really gets mentioned, right? And even when Marcus Smart won the award, there was a lot of talk about this was an award to the Celtics more so than to Marcus Smart. I mean, that was literally a running narrative because there were several guys that had better defensive numbers and metrics than Marcus Smart. But this Boston Celtics had the best defense, and Marcus Smart was at the head of that. So it was okay, let's go get him. I love what I'm seeing from Derrick Rose. I think Derrick Rose has looked fantastic, right? And it's nice to kind of see him, having a little longevity because there were some points in his career where it looked like that was it. It was time for him to pack it up. It was time for him to pack it in. But I look at this roster and it's a team of guards. You got you got Derrick Rose, Marcus Smart, you got Desmond Baines, even Conchar. They still have Luke Kennard, right? I don't think he's played yet, but I believe he's still on the Grizzlies. But outside of that, it's just who are their big men? Who are their big bodies? I really think that maybe they need to look at playing Lofton more, right? He, I know he's young. I know he's a guy that, I mean, he's had some pretty crazy games, right? If you look at what he's done for this roster, he's had some pretty stellar games. But I just think that he's just at least a big body, right? I know that there's like questions about like his size because he's like what almost 300 pounds, something like that. I know he's young, 21 years old, and I know he's like undersized at what is he 6'7", 6'8", but at least he's got a big physique to him and can kind of just bang and hopefully rebound and stuff like that for you. He did play 5 minutes in their last game, but outside of that, he hasn't really played. I don't know. He didn't play in the Pelicans game. He didn't play in the Denver game. Washington, he played 5 minutes. I just look at him and just go like, hey, maybe he's a guy that you should throw in there and just see if you can do so, just to give you a different look, give you some size. I like, they're going to have to get a big man or something, right? They're going to have to make some push. And to the Grizzlies, like, okay, the Grizzlies can go one of two ways here. They can either kind of package some of these young guys, right? Maybe some picks or whatever, and go and make a push, right? There's a lot of talks about like the Pelicans want to get rid of like Valanciunas, right? Because they don't want to lose Valanciunas for nothing. So can you maybe make some moves, make some trades, and go get a Valanciunas just to have at the center position? Maybe even play Jackson at the 4 or something. I don't know, just to give you some size. That's a possibility. But I think at some point they're going to have to look to get some size in here and get a big man, right? Because it's just, okay, so your main 4 guards are going to be Ja, Derrick Rose, Marcus Smart, and Desmond Bane, right? But then, like, again, after that, it's like, Williams, he's shown some promise. He's got decent size at 6'9", but he's like 22. Like, how much are you relying on him? Tillman is solid. He can make some noise. Roddy, he had some good moments, but again, he's really young, 22 years old, and he's only like 6'4". He's not really a forward. He's more of a guard size, but they have him play forward at times. It's just, I just don't see this team. I just think the only answer is either A, you kind of just ride this season and live with whatever happens, right? You hope that Ja comes back and maybe with him he can kind of help make some noise with the Memphis Grizzlies this year. And maybe you can squeeze into the playoffs as like the 6th seed or something, and maybe you can upset in the right matchup, right? Maybe you play a team like, I don't know, like the Warriors or something, and it's like they don't have the size to really dominate you, so it's like, okay, well, maybe we can match up and kind of push them. That is definitely something that maybe you could look at and go, okay, like at least we made the second round. There's that alternative. Or the other alternative is you start packaging all these guys and you go make a push to go get some size. You go get a big man, like I mentioned, like a Valanciunas or something. Now, they don't have to necessarily do that like today. And I get it's only 3 games, but it's the way the games have looked, right? Like, I mean, even the Washington game, you thought like, okay, they're playing Washington. Washington can't really defend, right? Like, it's the game should be at least a game that like, all right, like Memphis should be able to win this game, and it just didn't go the way that they wanted to, right? Like them getting dominated by like the Nuggets and stuff like that, that I don't really knock them for. And like, yeah, I get you can make the argument, well, like, the Nuggets game was close, sure. I just don't see Memphis winning a bunch of games. I didn't really like the Marcus Smart move. Look, Marcus Smart is a Memphis guy, right? I want to start this by saying that, right? Marcus Smart, he is a guy that like fits the grit and grind Grizzlies beautifully, right? And he does in a lot of ways give you that toughness, right? Without the ego that Dylan Brooks gave you. The issue is Marcus Smart and his size, right? He's just, if he was like 6'8", ideally, not even that, but like if he was like something, 6'6", right? Marcus Smart would be perfect. Perfect. Because then that gives you some real size out on the perimeter. But he's 6'3", so you're undersized, like front to back. It's just, I don't know. I'm sure Memphis fans are probably trying to, talk and justify and go, okay, like, no, like, it'll be okay. Memphis will be fine. And I'm sure, they're going to win a couple games here and there, right? But I don't think that they have the offense and the defense to really win enough games to make a difference, right? Like, I could see them beating, what's their next game? Who do they play? They play the Mavericks, I think. I could see them beating the Mavericks. Mavericks are terrible defensively. You're in Memphis, right? I could see them, like, that being their first win. But I don't see a scenario where they're beating any of the good teams in the West. Like, I don't see them beating, like the Clippers. I don't see them beating, the Lakers. I don't see them beating the Timberwolves or, even like the Jazz and the Warriors and the Kings and stuff. Like, right now, I don't. Ja can help and fix a lot, don't get me wrong, because he's just that talented. But I think even with Ja, I think losing Steven Adams, still having no Brandon Clark, I think you're cooked. I do. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? Do you agree with me? Disagree with me? Somewhere in between? How do you feel? Whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me out a lot. Lets me know you enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. I'll see you all in the next one. Thank you.